Hey, welcome. Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea from the world of lean manufacturing. It's a concept that can help you swap out chaos for calm and turn unpredictability into a nice, steady rhythm. It's called Heijunka, and trust me, it's not just for factories. So, let's get into it. You know that feeling when your work week is just a total roller coaster? One minute, you are absolutely buried in urgent tasks, and the next, you're just sitting there waiting for something to happen. That whole feast or famine cycle is stressful, it's inefficient, and it's exactly the problem Heijunka was designed to solve. All right, so to really get the solution, we first have to get a handle on the problem. We'll call it the production roller coaster. It's what happens when your workflow is just completely reactive, lurching from one thing to the next, just trying to keep up with the crazy rhythm of customer demand. Okay, let's imagine a t-shirt company. They make 4 different models, A, B, C, and B. Now, a traditional producer would probably just run a massive batch of A's, then shut down, switch everything over, and run a huge batch of B's. But a lean producer using Heijunka, they do something totally different, a mixed, repeating pattern. I know, it might look a little more complex at first glance, but it is so much more effective. See, that old school big batch approach creates something known in lean manufacturing as MURA, which just means unevenness. And MURA is a huge problem because it always leads to MURA, which is waste. We're talking wasted time, wasted materials, wasted effort. And getting rid of waste is the #1 goal of any lean system. So if that chaotic MURA roller coaster is the villain of our story, then Heijunka is definitely the hero. It's the art of smoothing out that crazy ride and creating a calm, predictable path forward. So what is it, really? Well, Heijunka is the Japanese word for levelization. It's a system for smoothing out production to get that predictable, steady rhythm instead of those wild peaks and valleys. And it does this by leveling 2 things, the total quantity of work and the mix of different products you're making. Okay, I know this might still feel a little abstract, so let's look at a couple of really clear examples. First, we'll see how to level the total amount of work, and then we'll check out how to level by the type of product. So let's say you get 500 orders a week, but the daily numbers are all over the map. You get this massive spike of 200 on Monday, then a big dip on Wednesday. The typical reaction? You scramble. You try to make 200 units on Monday, and then your team is sitting around with nothing to do on Wednesday. That is a textbook case of MURA. The Heijunka solution, though, is just so simple and elegant. First, you create a small buffer of finished products. We're not talking about a giant warehouse here, just enough to handle those spikes in demand. Then you just figure out the average daily demand, which is 100 units, and you produce that exact amount every single day. And right here, you can really see the impact. On the left, that's the chaos of just reacting to orders, the stress of scrambling, and then just waiting. And on the right, that's the calm of leveled production. This steadiness sends ripples through your entire operation, from your suppliers all the way to your own team. It creates a predictable and, frankly, a much more humane pulse for everyone involved. So that's leveling by quantity. Pretty cool, right? Now let's jump back to our t-shirt maker and see how this works when you're leveling by product type. So, why is this jumbled up, repeating pattern so much better? Well, a mass producer sends these huge, infrequent orders upstream to its suppliers. But a lean producer, by making a little bit of everything each day, sends a smooth, predictable signal. This actually prevents something called the bullwhip effect, where tiny changes in customer demand create these massive, crazy swings for your suppliers. The result is a much more responsive and way healthier supply chain for everyone. Okay, I know what you might be thinking right now. This all sounds great, but changing over our machines between products A, B, C, and D all day long, that would be a complete nightmare. And you know what? You'd be right. Heijunka doesn't work in a vacuum. It's made possible by a whole toolkit of other amazing lean practices. The first tool in the kit is SMED. It's a system of techniques for making those equipment changeovers incredibly fast. I'm talking minutes instead of hours. And when you can switch from making shirt A to shirt B that quickly, suddenly producing in small mixed batches isn't just possible, it's actually economical. Next up is Kanban. You can think of this as the nervous system of a lean factory. It's a signaling system. Often, it's just a simple card or an empty bin that tells you when it's time to make something. So instead of pushing production based on some forecast, Kanban pulls it based on what's actually been used. This makes sure you only make what's needed, exactly when it's needed. And this is where it all comes together, the Heijunka box. It's a physical grid that makes the leveled schedule visual for everyone. Each little slot represents a time interval, and you place the Kanban cards, the signals, right inside. Then a material handler comes by at a steady, fixed rhythm, pulls the cards, and delivers them to the production teams. It's like the conductor of an orchestra, telling everyone exactly what to make next. So let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture, because Heijunka is way more than just a scheduling trick. It's really at the very heart of the entire lean philosophy of eliminating waste. This quote from Taiichi Ono, who's basically the architect of the Toyota production system, says it all. Everything we've been talking about, that chaotic MURA, those long changeover times, having tons of extra inventory, it's all a form of MURA. It's an activity that eats up resources but adds zero value for the customer. And the scale of this waste is just staggering. It's estimated that in the US economy, a shocking 94% of all the materials that flow through the system are just wasted. Only 6% actually ends up in the final product. Just think about that. So when you put a system like Heijunka in place, you're not just smoothing things out. You are systematically hunting down and attacking waste. And this leads to some incredible benefits. Less cash tied up in inventory, shorter delivery times, a way more efficient operation. But just as important, it creates a more stable, sustainable, and way less stressful place for people to actually do their work. In the end, Heijunka is so much more than a box on a factory wall. It's a mindset. It's about learning to see the unevenness in any process, and then asking, how can I level this out? Whether you're managing your inbox, planning a project, or even just doing chores around the house, the principle of leveling can bring this incredible sense of calm, control, and efficiency. Hey, if you enjoyed leveling up your knowledge with this explainer and you want more ideas for continuous improvement, make sure you subscribe to the Kaizen Academy community. Thanks so much for watching.